What if I told you that something as simple as reheating last night's dinner could be creating a dangerous environment for pancreatic cancer inside your body? I'm Dr. Adrian Cole, a health and wellness educator. And today, I want to talk to you about something that is quietly concerning the scientific community. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal 5 foods that, when reheated the wrong way, can produce harmful compounds that silently overload your pancreas. What you are about to learn could permanently change the way you look at your microwave. Most of us do it every single day. We come home tired. We open the fridge. We grab yesterday's leftovers. It feels practical. It saves money. It feels completely harmless. But what if I told you that this simple habit, repeated over and over again, could be fighting a silent war against one of the most forgotten organs in your body? I'm talking about your pancreas. Think of your pancreas as the quiet, tireless worker inside you. It sits hidden behind your stomach, constantly producing the enzymes that digest your food and the insulin that controls your blood sugar. The problem is, your pancreas never complains. It never sends clear warning signs that it is under stress, not until the damage is already very serious. This is one of the reasons why pancreatic cancer is so hard to detect early and why it has one of the lowest survival rates of any cancer. That is exactly why prevention is so important, and it starts right there in your own kitchen. The concern is not coming from nowhere. It comes from a better understanding of food chemistry. We now know that heating, cooling, and reheating certain foods is not a neutral process. It is a chemical process, one that can transform harmless compounds into real health saboteurs. It creates substances that promote inflammation, oxidative stress, and cell damage. These 3 things are the foundation on which many chronic diseases are built, including cancer. My goal today is not to scare you. My goal is to give you knowledge. Because knowledge is power. The power to protect your health with small, simple changes. We are going to look at 5 of the most common foods sitting in American refrigerators right now. And most importantly, I am going to give you practical, safe solutions for handling your leftovers without putting your health at risk. This is not a distant theory. This is a biochemical reality happening in your kitchen every single day. Are you ready to take control? Let's begin. Number 1. Fried foods and reheated oils. The first problem on our list is not actually a food itself. It is the oil used to cook it. Think about those fried chicken strips, those onion rings, or those French fries from last night. What do most people do the next morning? They pop them in the microwave. Or worse, they toss them back in a pan to crisp them up again. That is where the real danger begins. When you heat oil to high temperatures during frying, it already begins to break down. But when you reheat that oil a second time, something much worse happens. A toxic chain reaction begins. Reheated oils, especially vegetable oils like sunflower or corn oil, go through a deep process of oxidation. This process creates a mixture of dangerous compounds. Among them are substances called aldehydes and free radicals. Both of these have been linked to a higher risk of serious chronic diseases. Think of free radicals like tiny bullets flying out of control inside your body. They bounce off your cells and damage everything they touch, including your DNA. So how does this hurt your pancreas? In 2 very quiet ways. First, it causes something called systemic inflammation. When you consume these compounds, your body activates its defense response. That response is inflammation. If you eat reheated fried foods regularly, it is like having a fire alarm ringing constantly in your home. Your body enters a state of chronic inflammation, and your pancreas is extremely sensitive to that state. A chronically inflamed pancreas is a stressed pancreas, one that has to work much harder in a very hostile environment. Second, it creates direct oxidative stress. The toxins from reheated oil enter your bloodstream and can directly attack your pancreatic cells, damaging their ability to function properly. Think of it like pouring sand into a car engine. Little by little, the parts wear down. You may even notice subtle signs: bloating, unusual fatigue after eating, or a dull ache in the upper part of your abdomen. These could be your pancreas sending a signal for help. My advice as a health educator: do not reuse frying oil. That is the golden rule. Frying oil is a single-use oil. I know it can feel wasteful, but your health is worth far more. Try to bake, roast, steam, or lightly sauté instead of frying. These are much gentler cooking methods. And if you do have leftover fried food, the safest way to reheat it is in a conventional oven or an air fryer, without adding any extra oil. This brings back the crispy texture using dry heat instead of more fat. And remember, the best fried food is always freshly made. Every time you choose fresh food over reheated leftovers, you are giving your pancreas a well-deserved rest. Number 2. Spinach and leafy green vegetables. This second food may surprise you because it is the symbol of healthy eating. Spinach. The problem, once again, is not the spinach itself. The problem is what happens when you reheat it. Spinach, Swiss chard, and celery all naturally contain compounds called nitrates. On their own, these nitrates are completely harmless. The problem starts when you cook these vegetables and then let them cool slowly at room temperature, or store them for several days. Certain bacteria that are naturally present will convert those harmless nitrates into nitrites, which are more concerning. The danger grows even worse in the second step, the reheating. Heat can cause these nitrites to react and form compounds called nitrosamines. And this is a word I want you to remember. Nitrosamines are classified as probable human carcinogens. They have been linked to a higher risk of certain cancers, especially stomach and esophageal cancer. Now, while the strongest research connects nitrosamines to other cancers, the threat to your pancreas should not be ignored. Nitrosamines are genotoxic. This means they have the ability to directly damage your DNA. When you consume them, your body works hard to detoxify itself, and your pancreas plays a key role in that process. Repeatedly exposing it to this kind of harmful load creates chronic stress and a dangerous inflammatory environment. And as we have already seen, chronic inflammation is a well-known risk factor for long-term cell damage. One exposure may not cause harm, but repeated exposure, week after week, is like a single drop of water falling on a stone. Over time, the stone wears away. My advice as a health educator: try to cook only the amount of leafy greens you plan to eat in one single meal. This is the simplest and most effective strategy. If you do have leftovers, do not leave the pot sitting on the stove. Transfer the food to a shallow container so it cools quickly and place it in the refrigerator within 1 hour. The safest choice is to eat cooked spinach cold. Cold cooked spinach is delicious. Toss it into a salad or blend it into a green smoothie. You get all of the nutrition with none of the reheating risk. And if you do reheat, do it only once. But my main recommendation is to avoid reheating these vegetables altogether. Number 3. Rice. We have now reached the third food, one found in kitchens all across America. Rice. It seems like the most harmless food in the world. But reheated rice hides a risk that most people have never heard of. The problem is not the rice. The problem is a bacteria called Bacillus cereus. Its spores, which are like tiny survival capsules, are often found in raw rice. And they are incredibly resistant to the heat of normal cooking. The real danger begins after the rice is cooked. If you leave cooked rice sitting at room temperature for several hours, you create the perfect environment for those spores to wake up and multiply, producing toxins as they grow. And here is the critical part. One of those toxins is heat resistant. When you reheat the rice, you may kill the bacteria, but the toxin they already produce stays completely intact. And that is what makes you sick. This toxin causes classic food poisoning: nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps. You might think it is just something unpleasant that passes. But every episode of food poisoning, even a mild one, is an acute inflammatory event for your entire digestive system. It places enormous stress on everything, including your pancreas. If you regularly mishandle leftover rice, you could be exposing yourself to low doses of these toxins on a regular basis, creating chronic low-grade irritation and inflammation in your gut. And today we know there is a powerful gut-pancreas connection. A chronically inflamed gut can leak inflammatory compounds into the bloodstream, affecting other organs. And your pancreas is particularly vulnerable to that kind of ongoing assault. My advice as a health educator: follow the golden rules of rice. As soon as rice is cooked, serve what you need immediately. Then cool the rest as quickly as possible. Spread it out on a baking sheet or in shallow containers. This allows it to cool much faster than leaving it in a deep pot. Once it has cooled, within 1 hour, transfer it to an airtight container and refrigerate it. Try to consume leftover rice within 24 hours. And when you reheat it, heat it until it is steaming hot throughout. Never reheat rice more than once. Write in the comments below whether you usually reheat any of these foods. I want to know if this information is surprising you. Number 4. Chicken. Our fourth food is another staple of American leftovers: chicken. It is a wonderful source of protein, but reheated incorrectly, it presents a very clear risk. The core problem with chicken is bacterial. Raw poultry can carry bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter. Proper cooking destroys them. But here is where reheating creates danger. Uneven heating. The microwave is famous for this. It creates hot spots and cold spots. Those cold spots can be the perfect hiding place for any bacteria that survived or that contaminated the food after it was first cooked. A Salmonella or Campylobacter infection is a serious illness. It triggers a powerful immune response throughout your entire body. This is a massive stress event for every organ, including your pancreas, which gets pulled into that inflammatory battle. Every time you eat a piece of unevenly reheated chicken, you are not just risking food poisoning. You are also contributing to the inflammatory stress load on your pancreas. My advice as a health educator: refrigerate leftover chicken quickly, within 2 hours of cooking, in an airtight container. When reheating, avoid using the microwave for large pieces of chicken. If you do use it, cut the chicken into smaller pieces and pause halfway through to stir or flip them. Use a food thermometer. This is the only way to be truly safe. Chicken must reach an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit in every part. Better options for reheating are a conventional oven or a skillet on medium-low heat. These allow slow, even heating throughout. And honestly, the safest and often most delicious way to enjoy leftover chicken is cold. Shred it into salads, sandwiches, or wraps. It is quick, easy, and completely eliminates the reheating risk. Number 5. Potatoes. We have reached our final food, a beloved American staple: potatoes. But the way most people handle leftover potatoes can have unexpected consequences. The problem here is actually twofold: the impact on blood sugar and the formation of a potentially dangerous compound. First, let's talk about resistant starch. When potatoes are cooked and then cooled, some of their starch transforms into something called resistant starch. This is actually wonderful for you. It feeds your good gut bacteria and helps moderate blood sugar spikes. In fact, eating cooled starchy foods with resistant starch may help reduce the risk of certain cancers. The problem is that reheating potatoes destroys a significant portion of this beneficial resistant starch. And that brings us to the second issue: the glycemic impact. Without that resistant starch, reheated potatoes cause a faster and higher blood sugar spike. And which organ has to respond to that spike? Your pancreas. It must release a large surge of insulin to manage it. If your diet regularly causes these blood sugar spikes, you're placing your pancreas under constant stress. Insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, both conditions linked to pancreatic exhaustion, are themselves known risk factors for pancreatic cancer. And finally, there is acrylamide, a substance classified as a probable human carcinogen. It forms in starchy foods during high-temperature cooking, such as frying or baking. Reheating potatoes, especially by frying them again, can potentially increase these acrylamide levels even further. My advice as a health educator: do not eliminate potatoes. Just handle them more wisely. Embrace the cold. The healthiest way to eat leftover potatoes is cold. A cold potato salad is an excellent choice because it maximizes resistant starch and is great for your gut. If you do need to reheat them, do it gently. Steaming or using the microwave on low power is far better than high dry heat. And under no circumstances should you refry already cooked potatoes. That is the worst possible option. If you have leftover mashed potatoes, reheat them slowly in a saucepan over low heat with a small splash of milk or broth to bring back that creamy texture. Closing. Today we took a close look at 5 very common foods. We discovered how the simple act of reheating can, under certain conditions, turn them into a real problem. With fried foods and oils, the danger is oxidation that drives inflammation. With spinach, the risk is nitrates converting into nitrosamines. With rice, the culprit is the toxin produced by Bacillus cereus. With chicken, we face the danger of uneven heating and bacterial contamination. And with potatoes, the problem is blood sugar spikes and the loss of that protective resistant starch. The common thread running through all 5 of them is the same: inflammation, oxidative stress, and cell damage. These are the mechanisms that, over time, can wear down your pancreas and raise the risk of serious disease. But the message I want to leave you with today is one of empowerment, not fear. I am not asking you to throw away your leftovers. I am asking you to be aware. I am giving you the knowledge to make smarter decisions. Because prevention is built on hundreds of small choices you make every single day. Cook smaller portions. Cool your leftovers quickly. Prefer eating them cold when possible. And if you do reheat, do it safely. These small habits make a monumental difference over the long run. And do not forget the bigger picture. Protect your pancreas by maintaining a healthy weight, avoiding smoking, limiting alcohol and added sugars, and eating plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. Your health is truly in your hands. If this information was helpful to you, I am asking you to do two simple things. First, please share this video. Send it to your family and friends. One simple gesture could help someone you love protect themselves from risks they never even knew existed. Second, for more practical health tips grounded in real science, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications so you never miss an important video. Thank you so much for taking the time to care for your health today. Remember, every small choice counts.